Hey y'all, welcome back to my channel, Herculean Homeschooling. I'm Sarah, homeschool mama of 6, and for today's video, I'm sharing with y'all my top 10 absolute favorite reasons of why we love Bookshark's Reading with History as our chosen history program for my 6 kiddos. As a FYI, I always like to let y'all know that Bookshark does send me their product in exchange for these reviews. Now, as I was writing down my reasons of why we love Bookshark, I kept thinking like, that's my favorite, or that's why, or that's my number one choice of why we love Bookshark. And I kept saying that's my favorite over and over and over, or that's my top choice, because I was gonna see if I could rank them, 1 to 10, but I couldn't narrow it down of what was my, 10 choice versus my number 1 choice. So all of these are just kind of all mixed up together of why our family loves Bookshark. Number 1, I love that Bookshark is an open and go program. There is not a lot, if any, prep work that I have to do as the homeschool teacher there, and there's not a lot that my kids have to do or prep beforehand. We can literally just open it up and start our history, which I'm a huge fan of. So I love that open and go approach that Bookshark has. They really make it simple for the first time homeschooler all the way through the experienced homeschooler. Anybody can use their program, open it up, and just understand exactly what to do and how to do it. It's amazing. That leads me to my second of what exactly do you open up? And that would be the schedule. I love that Bookshark has a schedule for us. You can actually get the first 3 weeks of the schedule for any of the levels on the Bookshark website. So I will put their website down in my description box. You can use that link to check it out. So here is an example of the schedule. You guys can see it tells you what books you're going to be reading on this side. It tells you what days you're going to be doing what. And then we literally just check them off once they're done. And so you can see on that first day, you'd be reading Journey to the Eastern Hemisphere. It tells you the page numbers, and then it breaks it down even more day by day. So then it will tell you like questions that you can be asking your kiddos. And it gives the different timelines and the historical figure stickers that go in your timeline book. There's the map work is all in there. It gives you challenging words that you might need to go over your vocabulary. And again, it breaks that down for every single day. And then it has stuff for you as the parent or teacher that you would be sharing. And then it also has stuff for your student that they can be looking at, or information that you can be sharing with them. Love the Bookshark schedule. I also love that it's not like August 10th this and then August 11th this. There is a spot for you to write in the dates, but they just have day by day. So if there's a week where we only do 2 days of history, that's totally fine. The next week we just pick it up on day 3 and do the day 3 work. So it's not like I have to do all of this in exactly 1 week. It's just day by day. So day 1, day 2, going all the way through. So I like that I can do that, and not just on a week by week basis, but also as a year. This year we happen to be starting level F in like February time, and so we're obviously not gonna finish that by the time that we're done with everything else at the end of April, early May. So I can just close my Bookshark stuff, set it aside, and in the fall, I can open it right back up again and just pick up where I left off in my schedule. To go along with that one, my number 3 reason for loving Bookshark is that it's a 4-day-a-week curriculum. I love that they give us that built-in extra day to either do makeup stuff. We do a co-op that we will tend to do on that 5th day. If you have music lessons or gymnastics or dance or whatever sports stuff you have going on, you're able to get all of your curriculum done in just 4 days a week. And then if you do it the 4 days a week, then you will get done in a typical school year. So I love that they have a 4-day-a-week program, and it just feels like 3-day weekend every weekend, which I'm a huge fan of. In addition to all of that, there are also 0 tests. 0 tests, 0 worksheets, none of that like tedious, busy work type stuff. And I know a lot of people wonder, well, if there's no tests or worksheets, how do I know that my kids are actually learning anything. I remember in school having tests and stuff about history, and I would just cram and cram and cram right before the test, and then I'd forget it all for after the test. I'm probably not alone in that. And I've been amazed as I've been doing this history with my kids, how much I remember. Partly because I'm not stressed about having to take a test. And I've noticed that with my children, because we can just have open conversations, which is my reason number 5, that I love the organic conversations that we get to have. That stays with them longer than trying to have to cram and remember numbers, names, dates for a specific test. For example, we did American history about a year and a half ago. And we were learning about, you know, we have George versus George, and they're fighting each other, and we're learning about all of this through living books in our American history. Well, like months and months later, I hear this epic Lego battle going on upstairs, and I go peek in the bedroom, and they had set up a war of George versus George. And that was months and months after we had had that discussion, and they were still remembering the key and important facts that we learned about, and they're able to implement it. And I know that's because we were learning this history in a way that was enjoyable, in a way that wasn't stressful, and in a way that was creating this culture and love of learning instead of just teaching to the test. So that is one of the absolute things that I also love about Bookshark's history, is that it isn't testing, it isn't doing just busy work. It's creating that environment where you can learn these things together and then you remember them longer. And going back again to that number 5 reason of those conversations that we've had with reading these books and talking about this history together, it's been amazing to me what my kids pick up from it, what they're learning, what they understand, and how they're seeing the world differently from learning the history. The schedule does give you some guided questions. At the beginning, I was kind of like, I don't even know what to ask. So those questions were really helpful. So I could gauge and make sure, are they understanding what we're reading about? Is their reading comprehension there? And then do they understand what else was happening in the world at that time? So the schedule will help you as you begin your journey with Bookshark and kind of knowing what kind of questions to ask and how to start those conversations. We've been using Bookshark for 5 years now, so I've kind of learned how to ask my kids questions based off of the reading that we're doing, but I will still reference the schedule if I need some ideas for that. But I just love that we can be sitting on the couch and having a deep conversation while we're reading this book about living in China during the 1920s and all the turmoil and angst that was happening, and what the government changing, and what would that really be like to have lived there. And then our kids are talking about, well, I wouldn't want to live there during that time. And so then that gave us the opportunity to talk about why are we grateful to be living here in America right now in the 2000s compared to living in China in the 1920s. And we just had the greatest conversation about that, and getting to hear where their minds were going and what they thought it would be like, and then to also hear how grateful they were for our lives now was just such an amazing opportunity just from our history program that we were reading. So I love those family ties, those family dynamics. We read a book during the American history section, and it talked about this family, I'm pretty sure it was Little Britches, if I remember the book correctly. The family had raised turkeys, but then people didn't have money to buy the turkeys. And so their kids were so excited that they were gonna be getting all this turkey. And the mom was just like, you're excited now, but after we've had turkey every day for months, you're not gonna be so excited. And the kids were like, no, we love turkey, it's gonna be great. And of course, you know, after a couple weeks of eating turkey for every meal, the kids were so sick of turkey. Well, this past Thanksgiving, we had a couple, I think we had like 4 or 5 turkeys that, you know, you get those promotions of spend $100, get a free turkey. So I had all these turkeys, and the kids were so excited. And I was like, you guys, this is just like the book that we read. And the kids were excited, and just like in the book, the kids were like, no, we're gonna love the turkey. Yeah, I think we did like a turkey a month. And so we were even spreading it out more than them. And our kids were still like, another turkey by the time we got to turkey number 4. So then it was just really fun to be able to have those family memories because we read those books together, to then reference them and see different things in our own family. And you can't recreate stuff like that. You can't make up that time later when they're all grown. These are things that you can only do when they're here in your home with you right now. And I just love that we're able to use that history program to create more memories and togetherness, and to have that lasting a lifetime. Which leads me to the number 6 reason why I love Bookshark, is that we can all do it together. With 6 kids, I do not have time to do 6 different history curricula. That would just not happen. I know it wouldn't happen. So I love that we can do this all together. Obviously, the kids are going to be learning and taking in different things depending on where they are mentally and what their understanding is. There are some things that the older kids might be ready to hear and understand that the younger ones won't, and that's okay. So when we do our history, my little ones are there. They usually have something to do with their hands, you know, whether it's coloring or Play-Doh or something to keep their hands busy while I am reading these books and working with all the kids. And then the older ones specifically will be the ones that will answer the questions, fill out the notebook pages, things like that. And we're not having to add in all this separate extra stuff because ain't nobody got time for that. While we do keep everything age appropriate, one of the things that I absolutely love about Bookshark is they are not afraid to talk about some of the deeper topics. There's a lot of hard and awful and sad things that have happened in our Earth's history. And I think it's really important for us to understand and know those things, but as well as for our kids to learn about these things. It's like we know, if we don't learn about history, history is going to be repeated, right? And there's a lot of stuff in this world's history that we do not want repeated. So it's important to learn about it. And a lot of these children, they're ready to know. Now, they don't need all the gory or graphic details and stuff. Something like slavery is awful, so awful that happened here in our country. But if we don't talk about it, then it's like hiding it, that it didn't happen. And it did happen. And we do need to talk about that and address it with our kids so all of our children know that happened and they understand it at different levels. And some of the books that are part of our history program, only the older kids will read certain ones, like their individual readers, because maybe the little ones aren't quite ready to hear that yet. However, the little ones do know that slavery happened and we talked about what life was like during that time. So I love that Bookshark is not afraid to talk about some of these deeper topics. Another thing that I really appreciate with them though is in the schedule, if there is a deeper topic or something that you might need to have a conversation, or you might need to read this section ahead of time to see if your kid's ready for that, they will put that in the schedule. So you can see on that schedule, let's see, this is a really big binder. So you can see right there, there's like an N that's red with a box around it. That is that there's a note. So if it's in red, it's important. There's a note about that book or something about a question that'll be asked, something like that. Usually it's about the book, that there's some kind of deep topic or controversial topic that will come up that you might want to prepare ahead of time to make sure your children are ready. So you can see right there, it says note to mom or dad, and then it will tell you what the note is. And that way it gives you a heads up of what to expect when you're coming up to some of these deeper topics. So that is reason number 7 that I love Bookshark, is they're not afraid of those deep topics. Number 8 goes back to that time again, having time to do all these different things. Bookshark also has a language arts program that ties in with their Reading with History. So that is just so awesome to me, because we're already doing the work of this history program, and then to have to do a whole nother separate language arts program can be a lot for people. So you can get your language arts to go with your history. Starting in level D is when that language arts and history really work together. So it'll be something similar to with your language arts and you're learning about sentence structure, something, and it will take a sentence from the book that you guys just read and then use that of this is a good sentence, and you know, go through why, and then now you're gonna model a sentence. And so then it kind of builds from there, but it goes off of what you guys were doing together with history. So that way they don't have to read a whole separate thing for language arts, and they're getting to read this really rich and well-written story to help be a model for them and their writing skills. So I like that that saves me time as the homeschool parent. It also helps my kids that it's tying in like a unit study, to where you're tying in your language arts and your history together instead of here's your history, here's your language arts. So I really like that philosophy behind using the history with the language arts. The next reason I love Bookshark is that it's not just sit and read a book or anything, that there are hands-on activities that go with it. I have some pictures of my kids doing some of the hands-on activities that we did with world history. They made Trojan horses. They also made chariots that could then attach to their Trojan horses. They made the laurel headbands as we were learning about ancient Greece. These pictures here of some of these different hands-on activities and crafts that they could do. And then when we got into American history, we got to do these lap books, and not just any lap books, y'all. These are like lap books on steroids. They're seriously amazing. They just keep going and going and going. I did another video showing y'all the Bookshark lap books here for the American History Year 1. I'll post that right there if you want to click that to see exactly what's inside the lap book. They also have these notebook pages for level F. So the different levels have different things. So levels D and E have lap books. Level F has these notebook pages. Levels B and C have the craft kits that I was showing y'all pictures of. So these notebook pages here, it's like map work and timelines, and then it has different activities to do. It's pretty cool. We all fill it out together. So I like that it's different for the different years also. It's not just the same thing every time. Let's see, after F, so G and H also have lap books that go with them for more world history. So just depending on what level you choose to do, there are different hands-on activities to do with it, which I love because that is targeting all of our different learning styles, right? Whether it's visual, audio, kinesthetic, all of our different learning styles can be addressed using the Bookshark Reading with History. My 10th reason for loving Bookshark is, of course, all the books. Like, I am 100% total bibliophile. I love reading, I love books, and that's actually what caught my eye with Bookshark at the beginning before I even looked into more of what it was. And I just loved these books. All of these books y'all see going across up here, those are all Bookshark books. And the back side of this has them going on the other side as well. And I love that we get to look back and see all these beautiful books that we have read together as family read-alouds, that my children have read as personal readers. I love that it makes my bookshelf look so beautiful and organized, because I do put these little color-coded stickers on for the different levels. So this is like level F and E and D and going backwards. So I just love that we get to read such a variety of books. The majority of them are historical fiction, which is just one of my favorite genres to read in general. But I love that we get to dive into what life was really like for some of these people. Instead of just reading a textbook telling us, you know, what life would have been like, we get to fall in love with characters and experience what life was like for them during these different times. And that just brings the history to life for not only myself, but for my children, to really think about what life truly would have been like, what this person really would have gone through during these different times, and having different things available to them than what we have now. And that just really helps all of us understand the history better when you can connect with someone, even a fictional character. When you connect with them, you understand their life story better, you understand that country's history better, and it's just an amazing way to learn history. It's so cool to get to feel like you're time traveling and jumping back in time and learning these different things through these characters in all of these living books that we get to read with Bookshark. I absolutely love it. So those are the 10 top reasons of why I love Bookshark, but even more than those 10 reasons, my absolute favorite thing about using Bookshark is that my kids love it. They ask to do their history. They're excited about, well, what's gonna happen next in the book? Or if we're reading 2 books, which one do you guys wanna read? And they'll tell me why they wanna read this one first, or while we're reading these books of why did they do that? Or how did that happen? And then they will go back and they'll retell somebody. They'll tell their dad at dinner, in the book we're learning about this. And they don't do that with, you know, math or English or anything else. They really love sharing the stories that they learn in history. Every time that we use Bookshark, they just love it. They ask to do it. And to me, that is the ultimate test. That's the ultimate, is this curriculum a good fit for our family, is when my kids are excited to do it. So that one doesn't even get a number because that is just the all-time, oh, I love that for our family, that Bookshark is working so well that my kids ask to do it. I hope these 10 reasons of why we love Bookshark have been helpful to you. If you have any questions about Bookshark, I'm happy to do my best in answering them and how it works for our family. I would love for you to give this video a like and comment down below. I'd like to hear what history program y'all are using, or if there's a favorite genre of history that you guys really have enjoyed learning about together. If you would like to see an unboxing of our Bookshark History Level F, you can go ahead and watch that video right there. But before you do that, don't forget to click my picture here to subscribe to my channel. Thanks so much for watching, and we'll see y'all next time.